Hello all, welcome to today's class. In today's class, we'll be talking about how to design a type 1 welded connection. So here you can see the question. A bracket is subjected to a load of 50 kilonewtons and is connected to a stanchion. Stanchion is nothing but column. So and is connected to a stanchion by welding as shown in the figure. So the welding is done all around the bracket plate, and what we have to find out is we have to find out the size of the weld so that the load can be carried safely. So initially, before discussing of this problem, we know we have two types of connections as we have seen in the bolted connections. The first one is the type 1 connection and the second one is the type 2 connection. So in type 1 connection, what happens here is you have a column section and you have a bracket plate. Okay, so you also have a load P. So type 1 connection is a connection when the eccentricity of the load, right? So type 1 connection is a connection when the eccentricity of load is measured from the center of the column section, to the load that is taking place. This distance is called as eccentricity. So this is called as type 1 connection. Whereas the type 2 connections are a connections where you have a column section and you also have a bracket plate, okay, wherein you are going to measure the eccentricity of a load from face of the column. So this is called as face of the column. So when you measure the eccentricity from face of the column, it is called as type 2 connection. When you measure the eccentricity from center of the column section, it is called as type 1 column section. So now if you observe the figure which is given in the question, so this figure, by observing this, we cannot clearly say whether it is a type 1 connection or type 2 connection because the eccentricity of the load is measured from the face of the column, that is 80 mm, and we are also provided with a 200 mm weld length, right? So this kind of problems represents there are type 1 connection also. Okay, only when you have the distance which is measured from the face of the column, only if this distance is given, then only it is a type 2 connection. Otherwise, if they give this distance also, then it is not a type 2 connection, it is a type 1 connection. So that's how you can clearly differentiate between the type 1 and type 2 connection. So now we found out the given problem is a type 1 connection because the eccentricity is being measured from the center of the column section. So let's solve for this. So the solution process consists of finding out the size of weld. So that is our ultimate aim. We need to find out the size of weld. So before finding out the size of weld, we have to find out few parameters where it will lead to determination of the size of the weld, which is S. Or you can also say it as the size of the weld can be written as S, and sometimes they can be written as T. In some textbooks, they'll write it as T, which is the thickness of the weld, and in some textbooks, they'll write it as S, which is size of the weld. They both are same, however. Okay, so let's initially start with finding out the centroidal distance. Now let us consider. So before finding out this one, you can make it as step 1. You are going to determine eccentricity for this connection because we clearly don't know what is the eccentricity here, right? So in type 1 connection, the eccentricity is measured from the center of the column section to the load that is taking place. That is this distance we have to measure. That is the eccentricity. So to find out eccentricity, we have to follow these steps. So let us consider x bar be the distance, x bar be the distance of the centroid of weld from the left edge of bracket plate. So we are just saying that let x bar be the distance of the centroid of weld which is measured from the left edge of the bracket plate. So this is the left edge of the bracket plate. So this one is the left edge of the bracket plate, right? So I mentioned here x bar. Okay, you can see here very carefully. So this is the x bar. Now we have to find out this x bar distance. Now how will you find out? We know x bar equals to a1 x1 plus a2 x2 upon total area, that is a1 plus a2. Now let's find out what is this a1, a2, x1 and x2. So x bar equals to a1. So a1 is the distance, or sorry, not the distance, area. A1 is the area, okay, where you are considering of the top areas, top and bottom areas, okay, or a1 is the area which is along x-axis. So these two are the x-axis. So the length of the weld is 200 into thickness or size of the weld. We don't know the thickness of the weld, so I'm just assuming it as t. Let t be the thickness into how many sides we have. 200 mm. We have 200 mm weld on the top, and we also have 200 mm at the bottom. So 2 times of 200 into t, okay, into x1, where x1 is the distance which is measured from the y-axis, that is half of 200, right? So let x1 be the distance which is measured from the y-axis. So let that value. So therefore x1 will be 200 by 2. 200 is this distance. Okay, so this must be clear. Now the next thing is a2 x2. A2 is the area which is from the y-axis, or which is along the y-axis. So 260 is the length. Okay, and since we don't know thickness, I am keeping it as t. And x2 is the distance which is measured from the y-axis. X2 is the distance which is measured from the y-axis. Now suppose you say here you have y-axis. Okay, here you have y-axis. So if you want to measure the distance of y, or sorry, x2 from y-axis, it is 0. You don't have any distance, right? So therefore x2 value will become 0 upon 2 times of 200 into t, which is a1, plus 260 into t, which is a2. So therefore if you solve for this value, you will be getting as 60.6 mm. Now what we have to find out? We have to find out eccentricity of load. Therefore eccentricity of load equals to, that is E equals to the distance along the weld group, that is 200 mm, 200 minus x bar, which is 60.6 plus 80. How I'm calculating this one? I said already that x bar is the distance which is measured from the center of the column. From center of the column, this is the x bar distance. Sorry, eccentricity distance. So eccentricity value will be 80 plus 200 minus the x bar value. So that's how you can end up with the finding of eccentricity value. So if you solve for this, you are going to get the eccentricity as 219.4 mm. So far we have found out the eccentricity of load. That means the load 110 kilonewtons is falling at an eccentricity of 219.4 mm. Right? Now, in the second step, what we are going to find out is, we are going to find out the polar moment of inertia. Polar, P-O-L-A-R, polar moment of inertia. So this is represented with IP. Okay, so the polar moment of inertia is represented with IP. So actually IP, that is polar moment of inertia, is a summation of moment of inertia along x-axis plus moment of inertia along y-axis. So we need to find out moment of inertia along x-axis, that is Ix, and we also have to find out the moment of inertia along y-axis, which is Iy. So let's solve for Ix initially. So the moment of inertia along x-axis will be BD cube by 12, right? So initially BD cube by 12. What is B? That is 200 mm. So this one, B is 200 mm. So 200 into D. We don't know the depth of the weld or thickness of the weld. So I'm considering it as T cube by 12. Okay, BD cube by 12 plus area of that particular portion, that is 200 into the thickness of the weld. We don't know the thickness of the weld. 200 into T, okay, into half of this distance, that is 260 half. So half of 260, that is 260 by 2 whole square, that is y square, you can say, or y by 2 whole square, into BD cube by 12 along y-axis. BD cube by 12 along y-axis. So what is B? It is width of the weld. We don't know the width of the weld or thickness of the weld. So T, that is thickness, into D. What is the depth along y-axis? It is 260 mm. You can see the 260 mm is the depth along y-axis. So T into 260 cube divided by 12. Okay, now along x-axis you have the on the top and you have the weld at the bottom. So I'm just multiplying this value with 2. I guess you are clear. So this formula represents BD cube by 12 along x-axis. Okay, so this is the area along x-axis and this is the depth or y distance. So that is D by 2 along y-axis, or D by 2 whole square along y-axis, and this is BD cube by 12 along y-axis. So that's how you can write down the formula of this particular section. So therefore Ixx equals to, that is moment of inertia along x-axis, equals to, you will be getting as 822.4 into 10 power 4 T. T you don't know, right? So mm power 4, which are the units of moment of inertia. Similarly, we also have to find out the value of Iy, which is moment of inertia along y-axis. Now here we have to find out the moment of inertia along y-axis, right? So you have two, okay? So one at top and one at bottom. So here you are finding out dB cube by 12 along x-axis, dB cube by 12. So you don't know the depth of the weld, so I'm just considering it as T. Okay, what is the width along x-axis? It is 200 mm. So 200 cube, okay, by 12. So this represents, I mean, this entire value represents dB cube by 12 along x-axis plus the area along x-axis, that is 200 into T, okay, 200 into T, which is area along x-axis, into x by 2 whole square, that is, you can make it as the value of x is 200, okay, 200 by 2, 200 by 2 minus the value of x bar, that is, what is the value of x bar? We have got it as 60.6. So 60.6 whole square. So how does we are getting this value? This is the x by 2, or the distance along x axis, right? So the distance of weld along x axis is, we are just assume it as x value. Okay, so along x axis, and this is the x bar value. We are just squaring the entire term. So that's how you will end up with the one particular case. And the other one is, we have to find out with the value of, sorry, here it is not sub multiplication, here it is addition, plus, okay, plus 260 into 10 cube, that is BD cube. The value of B is, we don't know, the width, that is 260 into 10 cube divided by 12, which is BD cube by 12, okay, plus area, that is 260 into T, this is area along y axis, into x bar square, which is 60.6 square. So this is x bar. So now you must have to understand the value of Iy. So therefore, Iy equals to 290.9 into 10 power 4. Again, you are getting the value in T, which gives you mm power 4. So therefore, here what we have to understand is, for the calculation purpose, okay, for the calculation purpose, so you just assume it this way. For the calculation of Ix and Iy, okay, for the calculation of Ix and Iy, the terms 260 into 10 cube, sorry, 260 into T cube by 12 and 200 into T cube by 12 have been neglected. So this you can neglect. This is just for the calculation purpose. So remember, this has to be followed for all the types of problems in the welded connections. So in the calculation of Ix and Iy, the terms 260 into 10 cube by 12, that is BD cube by 12 along x-axis and BD cube by 12 along y-axis. And these both terms are neglected. So this is basically because its numerical value will be insignificant, right? So this, why we are neglecting is because these two values, when you solve, they will give you insignificant value, and they will also lead to unnecessary complications in the calculations. Okay, so if you consider these two, they will lead to unnecessary complications, and also they will be insignificant. They are not of that much priority. So for that purpose, we are neglecting these. So consider this case is for all such types of problems. So therefore, IP equals to Ix plus Iy. Okay. So the answer, what is the value of Ix? 822.4 into 10 power 4 T plus 290.9 into 10 power 4 T. Okay, so if you solve for this value, the moment of polar moment of inertia will be 1113.3 into 10 power 4 T mm power 4. So this is the value of polar moment of inertia. Right now, let's solve for the third step, that is the resultant force. Right here, we are finding out the resultant force. So we know the resultant force formula equals to root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos theta, where here F1 is direct shear stress, and F2 is combined or twisting moment, not combined, it is the twisting moment. How does twisting moment happens? It is because of the load that is being applied at the end of a bracket plate. Now let's find out these values, that is direct shear stress and the twisting moment value, right? So the direct shear stress initially F1, that is direct shear stress equals to factored load. The formula for this is factored load upon total area, that is A1 plus A2, right? So the factored load is given in the question, which is as which is as 50 kilonewtons, right? The factored load is given in the question, which is as 50 kilonewtons. Okay. So here the factored load is given in the question as 110 kilonewtons. So earlier it was 50 kilonewtons. It is not 50 kilonewtons. So please change it to 110 kilonewtons. So the factored load is 110 kilonewtons. So the factored load value is 110 kilonewtons, where I'm converting into newtons. It is 110 into 10 cube upon area 1 and area 2. So the area 1 is 2 times of 200 into T, right? Which is this one. So 200 into T, which is thickness of the weld, into 2, which is why we are having two sides, along two sides, plus area along x-axis, that is 260 is the depth and thickness is the T. So if you solve for this value, you will be getting as 166.6 upon T newtons per mm square. So this is the force value or the direct shear stress. Now let's calculate the twisting moment. Okay, so twisting moment, that is F2, equals to factored load multiplied by eccentricity. Okay, factored load multiplied by eccentricity divided by polar moment of inertia into radial distance r, where r is the radial distance. Now we have the values of factored load, we have the value of eccentricity, and we also have the value of polar moment of inertia. Now let's find out what is this r, which is radial distance. So the radial distance is a distance. Okay, so the radial distance is a distance which is measured from the center of the welded bolt, or the place where you have x bar, that is the centroid value, to the extreme edge of the welded connection. So r is the radial distance which is measured from the center of the weld group to the extreme edge of the weld. Now let's find out this value, r value. So what is r? You have this distance, that is half of this distance is 130. You have the total height as 260, and I'm just making it half, which is 130. Okay, and you also have this distance. Okay, you also have this distance, which is 139.394. How would you get this 139.394? You're getting as when you subtract 200 minus the x bar value, that is 60.6. So it will lead you to 139.39 or 394 mm. Okay, so you have the side distance and you also have the another side distance. So you can find out the r value, that is under root of side square plus side square, that is r will become under root of 130 square plus 139.39 square. So let's write the same thing here. So r equals to, that is radial distance, r equals to under root of 130 square plus 139.39 square. Okay, so if you solve for this, you will be getting the radial distance as 190.6 mm. Now substitute all the values and then you will be obtaining the value of F2. So therefore F2 equals to factored load is 110 into 10 cube into eccentricity value is 219.4, which we have solved, right? So you can check down here 219.4, and polar moment of inertia value is 1113.3 1113.3 into 10 power 4 into T, okay, which is the thickness of the weld or size of the weld, into R, that is radial distance, 190.6. So if you solve for F2, you'll be getting as 413.17 upon the thickness newtons per mm square. Right, now we have got F1 value and also F2 value. Now we need to find out the cos theta value, right? We need to find out the cos theta value. So here also we know the cos theta value finding out. So how will you find out? One is we have to find out 139.39, which is this distance, 139.39, which we have measured here previously, right? So this one, 139.39 times of radial distance. So if you consider this as a theta as an angle, so cos theta equals to adjacent side by hypotenuse. Cos theta equals to adjacent side by hypotenuse. So what is the adjacent side? This is the adjacent side. With the value of adjacent side is 139.39, where hypotenuse is radial distance. We just found out the radial distance as 190.6. So the same thing I'm writing around here. So 139.39 by 190.6. So this will give you the value of cos theta, that is 0.731. So therefore, the resultant force R equals to F1 square. Okay, you have the value of F1, which is 166.6 by T whole square. This is F1 plus F2 square is 413.17 divided by T whole square, which is F2 square, plus 2 into F1 is 166.6 by T into F2, which is 413.17 by T times of cos theta. Cos theta is 0.731. So you are going to make under root to this entire term. That's how you will be getting the value of resultant force. So if you solve for this, the resultant force is obtained as 546.9 upon T. And make sure the condition for resultant force is this value must be less than or equals to Fu by root 3 into gamma mw. So here gamma mw is the partial safety factor of weld. So since nothing is given regarding the gamma mw, that is partial safety factor of weld, assume it as a shop welding. So we are just assuming it as shop welding. If the welding type is not given, just assume it as a shop welding. So the gamma mw value for shop welding is 1.25. So this value must be less than or equals to Fu value is 410 upon root 3 into 1.25. Okay, now just equate these two things, that is 546.9 divided by 2 equals to 410 upon root 3 into 1.25. So if you solve for this, the thickness of the weld or the size of the weld you will be obtaining as 2.8 mm. Okay, now let's find out the size of the weld. So we know the throat thickness or thickness T equals to 0.7 times of S, right? But what we need is the size of the weld. Size equals to T by 0.7. T by 0.7. So therefore, the T value is 2.8, okay, which is here, and 0.7. That gives the size of the weld as 4.1 mm. So therefore, provide size of weld equals to 5 mm. Okay, that's how the size of weld has been determined for this connection. So here, one important thing which you have to remember is wherever I have considered the T values, okay, consider that as a throat thickness. For for the calculation sake, consider it as a throat thickness. So I'll just write down the same thing here also. So wherever you are writing down the T value, that is all throat thickness. So you can make it as this statement here. Let us assume T as throat thickness. You can also assume the throat thickness as TT, okay, which we have used so far in the last classes. So you can assume either TT or you can also assume it as T. So just for this problem, okay. So once you know the throat thickness value, it is easy to find out the size of the well. So wherever we have seen the T value, it is all the throat thickness, not the size of the well. That was my calculation mistake. So consider the value of T as throat thickness, not the size of the weld. Okay, so that's how you can calculate the size of the weld when a load which is given at an eccentricity of certain distance and the welding is done on all three sides. So this problem talks about how to calculate when the welding is done on all the three sides and also the load is given. In the next class, we'll talk about another model problem where you have to find out the load value. So instead of 110 kilonewtons, which is given in the question, if you want to find out the value of load, how to find out, that we'll see in the next class. Thank you.